The story of the Leprechaun. Written by Catherine Teagan. Illustrated by Sally Lambert. A little man, about 2 feet tall, lived under a large tree by a stream. You could easily find him by listening for the tap, tap, tap of his hammer. This little man was a shoemaker. He spent his days making shoes that were green gold and lavender, some with pointy toes and some with high heels, for the people who lived nearby, and for the fairies who lived in the woods. The people knew he was a leprechaun, for there were many fairies like him who lived outside the villages. The people paid the leprechaun with pieces of gold for the shoes that he cobbled. The fairies' shoes were made of satin, and they were tiny. The fairies brought their gold to the leprechaun too. The leprechaun needed a place to keep his gold. He was a bit of a miser, so he didn't like to spend his money. An old meadow pot became the perfect place for all of his wealth. His shoes were so prized that soon his pot of gold was overflowing. One day, a man named Tim came to the leprechaun shop by the tree. He wanted a pair of shoes that would be violet blue with thick heels. As he was describing the shoes to the leprechaun, Tim spied the pot of gold. Tim knew that if he could capture the leprechaun, he would be granted 3 wishes because leprechauns are magic. "I'll come back in a few days to collect my shoes," said Tim. The leprechaun was no fool. He knew what the man was really after. He buried his pot of gold in a field filled with berry bushes. A few days later, Tim came back, and the leprechaun gave him the violet blue shoes. But when the leprechaun turned to hide his payment, he was snatched from behind. Oh, the leprechaun could not escape. Now Tim could get what he wanted. "For my first wish, I want you to show me where the pot of gold is hidden. For my second wish, I want 100 pairs of shoes. And for my third wish, I want 3 more wishes." The leprechaun said, "I can grant you the first 2 wishes, but the third wish is a greedy trick and cannot be granted." The leprechaun brought Tim to the field and pointed to the spot where the gold was buried. Tim had no shovel to dig with, so he marked the spot with a stick and a shoe. He would come back later. When Tim returned, he could not believe his eyes. There were 200 sticks with 200 shoes all over the field. It was leprechaun magic. Tim dug many holes in the field, but he couldn't find the spot where the pot of gold was buried. And after a few hours, he gave up. When he tried to collect the shoes, each one disappeared. The leprechaun had tricked him. The leprechaun needed to find a better place to hide his gold. He knew that rainbows were magic. You could never tell where one ended, and if he buried his gold at the end of one, only he would know how to find it again. So that is what he did. People still try to find his gold, but they never will. Listen for the sound of the leprechaun. Tap, 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 as he cobbles his shoes. Perhaps if you find him and are very nice to him, he will grant you a wish. Do you know what we call all these bookshelves in the library? We call them the stacks. So if you want a book about holidays, then you can go to the section that is the nonfiction, because it's fiction means made up stuff. You could say fiction is fake. Anyway, okay, so you're going to go to the stacks that are about the nonfiction. All right. Here we are. Elements, measuring, physics. Your old wiring, small engine repair. Federal resume guidelines. There's also, gardening, flower arrangements. Oh, games, books about games. And crafts and painting were over there too. And on the ends of these stacks or bookcases, we have posters that tell you. In the 800s, you'll have literature. Lots of interesting stuff. Over here in the 900s, history and geography, genealogy, ancient world history. Interesting. Here in the children's room, these stories are storybooks. They're made up stories. So let's go to the stacks and let's make a craft in the stacks. Let's begin with a piece of paper folded in half. And you need a pencil. Let's review the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. J is what we need. If you draw a capital J and a small j, it is the small j that we need. You want to turn your paper slightly off center and draw a giant J on the fold. Do you see the letter J? Now watch what happens. Did you see what happened? It became a heart by using the letter J. Now, I'm going to show you what happens when we make 4 hearts and put them together. Now you take a green sheet of paper and you fold it in half. Our goal is to make 4 J's, but We're going to turn our paper slightly, and then we're going to make our 4 J's along the crease of the paper. It's very important that they're on the crease. We cut out our 4 green J's. In your leftover paper, draw a triangle and cut it out. When you open up your J's, you're going to see green hearts. We're going to glue them together at the points and add our triangle as well. We began with a heart, and when we cut out 4 of these hearts in green, it became a 4-leaf clover. Here are the leaves. 1, 2, 3, 4. A 4-leaf clover. And 4-leaf clovers are magical. Do you know what's lots of fun in the summertime? Looking in your grass, looking at the spots where there's clover, and trying to find a 4-leaf clover. Some people think that it's good luck. Thanks for watching Story Time with us. We'll see you next week. This book and all the children's programming is funded through the William and Mary Benz Foundation. Thank you very much.